A telling thing happened a while back when Jesus was standing in front of Pontius Pilate. It's right here in the Bible, John 18:37. Jesus says to him, "For this purpose I was born, and for this purpose I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Now, Pilate says this. Wait for it. He says, "What is truth?" Shabam! There it is, the big kahuna, the spicy enchilada, the fizzy lifting drink, the question of the ages. And it's not much different today, which is why you hear claims like, "It's true for you, but not for me," or "There is no truth," or "Truth is relative, bro," or the ever so popular "Speak your truth." Now, these things all sound nice and sweet, but what in the world do they mean? Well, let's take "It's true for you, but not for me." Now, in all honesty, doesn't the person who says this to you want you to believe what he's saying? He's assuming that his relativistic claim is universally true, right? Everything is relative, I guess, except his relativism. Now, if something can only be true for me, which it can't, then it doesn't apply to you or anyone else, so what's the point in saying it? But if it is true for everyone, then the claim is wrong, because it's only claiming to be true for me and not for you. Get it? Okay, maybe it's not clear right this second, but things that contradict themselves, like this claim, cannot be true. What about the claim there is no truth? Oh, yet another statement that demolishes itself by its own standard. After all, is that claim true? If so, it's wrong. If the claim is not true, then it's true that the statement "there is no truth" is not true, which means there is truth, which makes the claim false. Moving on to the popular "Speak your truth." I gotta ask you, in all seriousness, is there really your truth and my truth? Truth is what is. It corresponds to reality. It's black and white, either or, fact kind of stuff, right? Tiny Tammy tossed the toy pterodactyl tenderly into the Thames that Tuesday, or she didn't. It's pretty simple, really. Truth is truth, and it doesn't change with a pronoun. Now, you might disagree and throw your hands up in objection, that is, until, of course, you are on the receiving end of a lie, somebody else's truth that contradicts reality. Let's say you deposited $100 into the bank yesterday, but the banker's truth is that you didn't. Your sweet hundo, gone.
Oh no.
Let's say you got every answer on every test right, but the teacher's truth is that you flunked the whole grade. Now you have to repeat it. Your summer, gone. See, I think you get it. And I think you'd be fighting pretty hard for the truth, the thing that corresponds to reality in those specific scenarios, because lies, other people's truths that aren't true, have huge consequences. Relativism is not only flawed, it's unlivable and unsustainable. And let's be honest, nobody wants a relative answer when they ask a real question, especially if it's directions to a gas station when you have to go to the bathroom. But wait a second, what if I say, my favorite candy is M&M's, and you say your favorite candy is Snickers? See, what's true for me is not true for you in that sense, right? Well, actually, wrong. See, I'm saying it's true that my favorite candy is M&M's, and you are saying it's true that your favorite candy is Snickers. We're simply stating the truth about our preferences. Now, you gotta watch out for preferences, beliefs, and opinions trying to sneak their way into truth's exclusive club. After all, you can prefer that you have a blue hat when you only have a white one, but it doesn't change the facts. You can believe the moon is made out of cheese, but it doesn't make it true. And it might be your opinion that 5 plus 5 is actually 13, but you'd be wrong. See, tricky word games don't change the truth. They get you nowhere. As Double Dubs would say, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. But what about morality? That's the big one. One person thinks it's wrong to commit adultery, and another thinks it's not. So the one might say, I'm glad you have your truth, baby, but it doesn't work for me. First of all, what you think about the truth doesn't change it. A thing is either true or not, even moral duties and obligations. Second, truth is not dependent on the subject, that is, you or me. It's objective. So whether it works for us or not doesn't change what's actually true. Third, since these two claims are in direct opposition to one another, only one can be true. This is the irrefutable, unstoppable, unbreakable, incontrovertible law of non-contradiction, smashing through the nonsensical, irrational, and weak wall of hocus-pocus relativism. And, curiously, here we are today right where Pilate was, having to deal with the one who calls himself the way, the truth, and the life, claiming that no one gets to the Father, that is God, except through him. That's either true or it's not. And we can either deal with it head on, or we can, like Pilate and like Romans declares, suppress the truth and unrighteousness, which leads us to make claims like, what's true for you is not for me. Truth is relative. There is no truth, etc., all of which heretofore have been debunked. Adios. This is DeBunked TV. I'm Bub. That's Carl. This is part 2 of The Truth DeBunked TV. So episode 2. So if you're just tuning in now, make sure you go watch the other one. We want you to watch that episode and then come to this one. The last one we left you, we were on this. Speak your truth. We're going to spend the whole time today on this thing because it can be really, really dangerous and can be really confusing sometimes if you're not paying attention to the words and listening and putting it through a biblical filter. You can get lost and go off on tangents and end up hurting yourself and hurting others because it's that dangerous. So we're just so you know, We don't make some of this stuff up and go, what do you want to say? Speak your truth. We're going to go to the field right now with our makeup team, and you're going to see what some people say when they're asked, what is truth?
What's truth?
What is truth?
Yeah, what's truth?
Whatever you feel inside, that
Yeah.
you know, whatever feels right.
Whatever feels
that's
right?
the truth. Sometimes it doesn't feel right.
And sometimes it does.
This is a deep conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What do you think truth is?
I don't know, honestly.
You don't know?
No.
What does the word truth mean to you?
Something, I mean, it has its variations. Truth can be something that you're okay with. Like if I tell you that color is red, like, okay, like, I'm okay with that and I believe in it.
We all agree.
Yeah, something that we can all agree on.
Something that we all agree on?
And they give you, like, sense of relief.
Serious question. What do you think truth is?
Truth? Not here. Not downtown.
What does the word truth mean to you?
Whatever you think it means.
Yeah, I mean, it varies depending on each person's perspective.
So, what
My
you
truth is
yourself
different
thinks?
than theirs. My truth?
So,
looking for it.
truth is whatever you as a person want it to be. All
There
right.
may be, wrong and right, but truth gets hairy.
What is truth?
Truth is, well, first of all, in order for you to be truthful, you have to be true to yourself. You have to be 100% true in your own feelings, in your own beliefs.
My heart breaks over that stuff.
Well, this is why it can be dangerous. It's
Yeah.
whatever feels good to
Absolutely.
one person,
Yep.
right? It is whatever we agree on.
Yep.
At some level, even if there's not a standard reference,
right.
it's kind of what you agree on, or it's just be true to yourself.
It's not just people on the streets that believe truth is relative. Oxford biologist and renowned author Richard Dawkins is one of the many academics that weigh in on the subject. He says in his book, River Out of Eden, that the universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. Does that really describe the universe we live in? No design, really? No purpose, no good and evil? Really? Of course not. He is right in his description of what the universe without God might look like, but he fails epically in affirming that this corresponds with the reality of the universe we actually live in.
And we addressed that last time. Truth is that which has fidelity to an original. And so if I'm the original, well, guess what? You're not the same. And now whatever feels right, well, guess what? That skateboard that guy, the first guy,
Right.
he was on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Well, that skateboard now belongs to me because that's what feels right to me.
Right.
And-
So if it feels right to you, or four of us seem to agree that it's okay to beat this guy up, then where do people stand? So
Yep.
truth has nothing to do with the majority vote.
Nope.
Has nothing to do with what it feels like, and it has nothing to do with being true to yourself.
That's right.
Because that only internalizes and again makes it
Exactly.
relative.
Exactly.
This is you take these far enough, you can see how dangerous it goes.
Real quick.
So you got two main things you want to,
Yeah.
because this is good stuff, and this please. If you don't listen to anything else, listen to this section and pay attention to it, because this is what we're fooled by quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, here's the way I like to do it with folks. I say, okay, look, let's go do some street evangelism, all right? And you guys with me? Okay, good. Here's what we're going to do. Let's go downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Let's go downtown. Hey, we're not too far from L.A.
Yeah.
Well, depending on time of day,
Yeah,
it could be.
It could be 4.5 days or 3 hours. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
let's
but
go
somewhere
downtown.
in California, in northern, California.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going downtown, and because I am such a nice guy, I've already made our signs up, man.
Yeah.
I've got our signs made up, and so I'll ask the people, "Let's go. You ready?" And then I show them the sign. You
Yeah.
want to show them the sign?
Here's the sign.
And then-
Speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have.
And it's like, there you go. And I say, okay, now how many of you are going to go with me downtown Chicago, downtown LA? And all of a sudden things kind of get a little jittery. And I say, well, what's going on? What's wrong?
Yeah.
And they're like, nah. And I'm like, what's the problem?
Yes.
Is the problem the image, or is the problem the teaching? And this is one of the first points that we want to make,
Yeah,
is like,
incredible.
guys, you've got to understand this, that even the church has gotten deceived by the fact that how pretty the package is
Yes.
will determine on whether it's good or not.
Yep.
Furthest thing from the truth, okay?
Yep.
Because think about it. God said very clearly that there is a way that seems right to man, but the ends
Yeah, into death.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's like you can't look at the package. I mean, of course, we want to have a nice studio and nice packaging and all that stuff, but the content is king. And I mean,
Yeah.
we got to put the focus on
Yeah.
that. So
Well, I think it's important to realize the difference there, because it also goes the other way. Just because you're a good man,
yes,
you can say incorrect things.
exactly true.
And you can go, well, look, you're not saying that he is or isn't. I'm
No,
just saying
no,
that you put any person up there.
That's right.
And it tends to sway. Oh, if A.W. Tozer said that, if
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis said
Exactly.
that, oh, if this guy said it,
That's
then
right.
you're like, well, then what? But you still got to separate.
Absolutely.
The
Be a
key is
Berean.
to separate.
Be in that Berean.
And lock in and go, okay, I like this guy a lot. Doesn't mean what he's
That's
saying
right.
is true, or I can't stand this guy. Doesn't mean what he's saying is false.
See, think about Acts 17:11.
Yeah.
That is the perfect picture of that.
Yeah. Oh, this is God Himself. I mean,
The superstar apostle of the
yes.
day, Paul, dude, writes more than half of the New Testament.
Don't trust me only.
He comes
You
into
search
town.
What? The referent.
Daily, man.
yeah.
Daily they were in examining to see if what he said was true or not. Look,
That's what I love about the Lord. He's an evidentialist. He really is. I mean, it's like, put my hands up. I'll do that to Thomas. Here's something I can tell you. You'll know. But me, by how other people love him, you can historically verify if I was alive, if what I taught was true, if I resurrected, which we'll get to later.
Sure.
He's an evidentialist to some degree for all the time. He's like, you can test this stuff.
Right.
I want you to test it.
and we're commanded to do that.
and
That's
exactly.
what we're about.
We're commanded to do it.
So here we are. Most of the folks are now like jittery. And I say, okay. But let's take a look. He didn't say this. Let me show you who actually did say it. So
what I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have.
So now think about this. New sign, same statement. What kind of an experience are we going to have now? Downtown Chicago. Good, bad? And everybody's like, well, that's good. See, this is the whole point.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with the teaching. It had everything to do with the packaging. Don't be deceived by that. We need to address the teaching.
Seeing beyond the packaging requires critical thinking. However, there are many obstacles to critical thinking, and this example highlights at least two of them. First, you have the obstacle of conformity, just going with the flow, to do the popular thing rather than thinking things through. Conformity is directly related to peer pressure. The hesitation in going out to downtown Chicago or LA with that Trump poster is because some people may not like it, and they may not like you, and everyone longs to be liked and accepted, especially by their peers. This often translates into an unwillingness to think clearly. We end up agreeing with ideas that we would never even consider were we thinking critically. And second, you have personal bias, giving credit or discredit by appreciation or some symbolic connection rather than on merit. It's a sign of maturity to be able to critically evaluate ideas and even people we hold dear. When we fail to do so, we often find ourselves recycling ignorance.
And so let's take that.
And
Let's
they
address it.
applauded here.
Oh my goodness, it was
Right.
emotional.
Right, it's very emotional.
I mean-
because why? All those people in the audience love Oprah. So what she must be telling me must be true. Be honest, I've always liked Oprah.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean everything she says is true.
No.
And that statement is a dangerous
And
statement.
we have to break it down.
Yeah.
Speaking your truth is the
Yes.
most powerful tool we all have.
That's what she
Well,
said.
let's take a look at some of the people that she's had on her program
Yeah.
speaking their truth.
Yeah.
And Louise Hay was one of the people that she's had on there, and she teaches that the folks in the Holocaust that died in the Holocaust, they were suffering through that because of what they had done in a previous life.
Wow.
I mean, that's not good.
So a truth to her that could be verified by or it's hard to verify whether that's either true or not. So why even say it? How does she know there's past lives?
Nope.
But she's telling all these 6 million people or plus that they live there because their past lives were bad.
Yep.
And Oprah had her on her show, and that's
Absolutely.
her truth. And how do you argue if it's her truth and she gets her truth?
That's her truth.
Yeah.
And Miss Carolyn was another one that had on there, and she teaches that cancer is caused by emotional distress. So just think positive thoughts.
Yeah.
Look,
Wow.
man, that's not good. And then to me, the one is like Miss Rhonda. And look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the people. I don't attack people. We have to attack the teaching.
The
we
ideas,
have to.
yes.
We have to go after the teaching. And she teaches, look, if you want to be rich, all you got to do is think about money. And I'm like, hello?
I probably think about money too much as it is, but it didn't. I don't think it's changed. I'm not a billionaire. Are you?
No,
Are you?
I mean, and I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, Of course I think about money. We've got to do this, we got to pay this, we got to do. Look, that is bad, but that's their truth. Yep. And she puts them on the show to teach this.
Which is curious to me, if she only thinks they're your truth and she's getting these people to teach their truth, it's not true to me. So apparently it's not true because I've thought of money and I'm not a millionaire, I'm not rich.
Me neither.
So it must only be true for her.
Yeah.
So then why get on there to teach me if it can only be true for you? It just gets insane.
But the one that really got me was this next one.
Okay.
This next one.
Okay. Take a look.
And I just hope that Reese Taylor died knowing that her truth, like the truth of so many other women who were tormented in those years, and even now tormented, goes marching on.
And this is powerful, Bub. I mean, this is emotional. It's like...
Well, this gets really
gripping
to the heart of stuff.
And I'm like, okay, I got to be just straight honest truth with you. I didn't know who Reese Taylor was.
Yep.
And then I had to do the research because, I mean, she mentioned this, like, so who's this? Yep. Reese Taylor was a woman who was walking home from church one night. 6 white men pull her into a car, take her out into the country. They abuse her. They get done. They blindfold her, throw her alongside of the road, and tell her if she tells anybody that they're going to kill her. She wasn't quiet. She went to the police. Police did nothing. She goes to the NAACP. They send in an investigator. The investigator comes in, and in the course of doing all the investigation, they're meeting, they're talking, sitting in the home of Reese Taylor. One of the guys that had abused Reese is driving up and down the street. Eventually, the sheriff bursts through her door and tells the NAACP investigator, get out of town. Wow. We don't need you troublemakers here. So she leaves, but she doesn't leave it alone. Yeah. And they blew it up. I mean, it was all over the country, the headlines and everything. They ended up offering the lawyer. I can't even tell you what the lawyer said. I mean, it's you get angry.
Yeah.
You get angry.
You're angry at the whole situation.
Yeah. And it's like, look, each one of the people that abused your wife, to the husband, they're going to give you $100 each. So just forget about it. Look, here's the bottom line. Not a one of those guys was ever prosecuted. Not a one of them was ever prosecuted. And we have to take on what Miss Oprah said. It is powerful, it's emotional, it's not right. But we have to break down what she said. And this is what she said. And I just hope that Reese Taylor died knowing that her truth, like the truth of so many other women who were tormented in those years, and even now tormented, goes marching on. Here's my point to you. I don't care what those guys look like. I don't care what she looked like. What happened was wrong. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. You see, if it was her truth, and her truth was she was abused, well, those 6 white guys, their truth was they paid her for her services. If you think you can live in this world where everybody's got their own truth, we're done. What happened to her was wrong, and that's the truth. And as a Christian, we have to stand up on that, even if the lost won't. You can claim that this is what's right for me and that's what's right for you, yep. Then you're going to have to live with this until it all blows up and burns up. Guys, yeah. We have to stand on the truth.
Well, you take the 3 statements from the mic'd up, the debunked mic'd up. The first guy, it's a feeling.
Yep.
So the 6 guys feel it's okay.
It was okay.
Forget the
and so did the town, and so did the sheriff.
And everyone at that time, as if time shifts morality, which it never does. They just get around each other and don't want the trouble, and that's what happens to people because they, again, no standard referent, I don't know where they're grabbing their morality from, but it's obviously not Scripture. And so we have the next guy who said, well, what if we just kind of agreed on it and I like it? Well, these 6 guys agreed to it.
They agreed on it. That's right.
And then the poor girl, she didn't agree to it, but so what? As long as there's 80 over here, 8 over here, the majority rules, and somehow that works. So that is how incredibly dangerous this stuff can get.
So why does truth matter, Bob?
Well, that's to you. I think that it matters so much on 2 different realities, or the same reality but 2 different time zones. It matters now for your happiness and health and all your relationships. If they're based on a lie, there's nothing there. If your doctor came and told you that you're fine and you're really dying, that doesn't help you. If your dad tells you he loves you and beats you, he doesn't really love you. You get confused. So truth matters now, but it matters even most for your eternity, because if Jesus is not who he said he was, then we have no standard referent. He did not die. He did not live a sinless life. He did not resurrect. And then, like Paul says, we're all to be pitied. Again, Jesus is an evidentialist. Look at this. Test my resurrection. If it didn't happen, forget it all, because it hinges on the fact that he's God. And if he resurrected from his own death, then that guy needs to be looked at differently, because he has the power over death. Then everything he says I ought to at least listen to. And what he says is he came to testify to the truth. In fact, he said, I am the way, the truth. He is the essence of truth. So everything is his standard referent. And that matters to your eternity, and it matters now. Truth matters in a big way.
Yep. And because it matters,
yes,
I think we got to own it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I bring in the scripture here to look, Philippians 2:12. It says to work out your own salvation. Look, none of us can ride on somebody else's coattails on this issue. My children can't ride on my coattails.
Right.
They can't.
Right.
Granddaddies, look, you're going to have to make a decision. Choose you this day who you are going to follow. You have to own this.
Yep.
This is on you. And I mean, it's so important. Joshua 1:8, it tells us, look, that we're supposed to do as it is written, do everything as it is written, according to as it is written. This is an important issue. You have to own it. If you're a Christian, you got to own it. But you also have to do the second part, which is you got to search for it. This is, you're not going to pick this up from osmosis. Our prayer is that, yes, we do some things that are fun. We use the debunk to hook to get people to think and jab, think. But you are going to have to get in and search.
Amen.
You're going to have to take what we're saying, compare it to the standard reference, see if what we're telling is true. Because at the end of the day, if you do that and then you own it, now you are going to be willing to speak out in a culture that's going to mock you and ridicule you and reject you because they disagree with you. When you own it, when you have sought it out, when you have searched it, 2 Timothy 2:15, study. Study to show yourself approved. When you do that, it's going to embolden you to stand up in a culture that just thinks different. I mean, remember, we talked about Acts 17:11. The superstar apostle of the day, brother, and they're checking him out. We have to do this. You have to do this. You have to examine. This is what they did. They examined and they did it daily. There's a pattern. And then that third one to me is like, you're going to have to critically evaluate the evidence. I mean, 1 Thessalonians says, test everything. Test everything. When you do that, look, God blesses obedience. I've come to a firm belief in this, man. He blesses obedience. And when you do those 3 steps, you own it, you search it, and it'll change everything in your life. If you're a non-Christian sitting there right now thinking we're a bunch of whatever, do what Josh McDowell did. Do what J. Warner Wallace did. Do what all these people have done, where they took it and they went in, they started studying, they started digging to disprove it.
Lee Strobel.
Lee Strobel. Go try it. See what happens.
The dare is, I mean, most of this is all to Christians, but the dare to non-Christians is investigate, open your mind, and go look, and then follow the evidence. Follow the evidence. That's the challenge, because I'm so confident in it. Is right. You go search it out, and one thing you can do is go, okay, God, I don't even believe in you. I give you 30 days, and I'm going to look into it. I don't know what will happen. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but I'm saying if you want to take that challenge as a non-believer, what do you got to lose? It's 30 days of your life. Go look at it. Go ask people. Look at some of this stuff. But here's the thing that I think that we're on par with here is that we've just exposed 50 minutes of explaining what the truth is, and defining the truth, and showing you the error of what if you get it wrong. You can go and test this yourself every day. Just like the Bereans testing Scripture, you can test this stuff every day. Go, that guy just said, you actually had something about words to watch out for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, good, better, best, you know.
So that's pretty good. The way I see it,
exactly.
Kind of in my opinion, you know what? If it were me.
Shaky words, man. It's all these shaky. I love, there's a trailer out right now in a movie that's coming out, and it says, I'm almost 100% absolutely certain. It's almost. It's like, oh, it's really good, But hey, let me throw this to the challenge, to the Christian. We hit the non-Christian, but for the Christian, when you do this, please make sure you do it God's way. Because it's real easy to start getting nasty and aggressive and all that stuff. But man, we need boldness in this culture, no doubt about it. But make sure that you're speaking the truth in love. Make sure that you're representing Jesus well when you do these things.
Well, because it's different, because knowledge puffs up, but truth doesn't. Because the truth works on you inwardly. So it beats you up and keeps you from beating other people. Because the truth about me, who I really am and who I am in Christ and what He's done for me. Okay, so that is 2 episodes of truth. We unpacked number 9, and our debunk was there is no truth, and we've proven that there is truth, and we've proven that the wrong forms of what you think truth could be very dangerous. Subjective statements, subjective opinions are very different than objective truth. We need to talk about objective truth. We need to put objective truth on the table. These are the things that change our lives, that build machines, that help us in our health. Objective truth actually makes a huge difference in the world and a huge difference in your eternity, because Christ is the referent and God's word is the highest thing there is. A man approached me and told me the sky was green and gravity didn't exist to him. He believed it with the utmost sincerity, then took off his tinted glasses, was overwhelmed at the blue sky, and fell down a flight of stairs. Such is the nature of belief and truth. Although he wholeheartedly believed what he believed and perceived it to be truth, did it actually alter the truth? Did it change reality? Did his ardent opinion and sincere acceptance of a non-existent gravitational force prevent him from falling? Can there really be your truth and my truth? What happens when our truths are contradictory? Is truth pliable? Well, I guess it all depends on what truth is. Can it really be this postmodernistic, relativistic, non-reality-based ism so many incorrectly wish it to be? If it is, then you couldn't actually understand that sentence. I'm just saying. Perhaps the definition has been blurred a bit and needs to be brought back into focus. The dictionary says truth is that which is in accordance with fact and reality. So truth is what is. It's what's real. The kind of truth Aristotle and Jesus spoke of. Now, here you go. Let's say somebody tells you they saw millibuggins inside an elevator, and someone else told you that at the exact same time, in the exact same relationship, they saw the exact same millibuggins, and he was completely outside of the elevator. Can both be true. Something is either true or it's not, right? It doesn't matter where you're from or your life experiences. It doesn't change the facts because truth isn't relative or based on your perception. If it were, then it would be limited to the speaker's point of view, which would mean truth is different from person to person. Therefore, it would only be binding or relevant to the person or group of persons who perceive it that way. So then a 10-ton bag of bricks could fall on one person and squash them, and the same bag of bricks could fall on another person and it would just bounce off. You see, it all depends on how they perceive truth. Bag of bricks, in this case, is relative to either a real bag of bricks or a bouncing ball. You pick. Next example. Okay, let's say you ask Jimmy here where the nearest hospital is. Do you want a real answer or whatever Jimmy's relative answer might be? I bet you want the real one. Next one. Big Louie. Okay, that guy right there. He accuses you of theft, but you didn't do it. Are you going to defend the truth or just tell the judge nobody can really know what truth is as they put you in very real handcuffs and they walk you to a very real prison? Takes me to John chapter 18, where Jesus tells Pilate he came to testify to the truth and that everyone on the side of truth listens to Jesus. Nothing relative there. There are those on the side of truth and those who aren't. Jesus repeatedly said, I tell you the truth, to open his statements because reality of the what is kind is what we need to live our lives by and what we expect others around us to live theirs by. Truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That's either true or it's not. That's the standard. Live it, love it, share it. Adios.
See ya.